I thought it would be fun, a little rush of adrenaline. One click, one anonymous payment, and a mystery box arrived at my doorstep 5 days later. No return address, no branding. Just a heavy, beat-up cardboard box sealed with black tape and something ticking inside. At first, I laughed it off. Probably some prank from a shady seller trying to scare people. But then things started happening. Sounds I couldn't explain. People I spoke to forgetting they'd ever known me. And that thing I pulled out of the box? It was never meant to be seen, not by me, not by anyone. What's inside these boxes isn't just weird, it's dangerous. And tonight, you're going to hear the stories they tried to erase. Real boxes, real people, real consequences. This is Dark Phantom Rides. Subscribe now if you dare to open the next one. Let's move to our first story, The Forgotten Sound, first-person psychological horror, subgenre, cursed audio. Memory loss. I wasn't the type to mess with the dark web. I didn't even believe half the stories I read online, all those tales about cursed boxes, haunted dolls, or people disappearing after opening some encrypted link. But boredom is a powerful thing. It eats away at your sense of reason, especially when you're lonely. It started after my friend Darren, someone who always chased the next thrill, showed up to my apartment with a rusted spoon wrapped in what looked like clumps of matted hair. He claimed it came from a mystery box he bought off the dark web. I laughed, told him it was probably a scam, but something about the way he looked at it unsettled me. Like he didn't choose to keep it. Like he couldn't let it go. 3 nights later, I did what I swore I wouldn't. I went to a forum I won't name. I followed a link someone posted and ordered a box, completely anonymous. No return address, no tracking number, just a screen that said, "One selected you. Do not close this tab." My hands were sweating as I typed in my address. The box arrived 5 days later. Brown cardboard, water-stained, and slightly crushed at one corner. Black tape wrapped around the edges like stitches. No labels, no instructions. When I opened it, there was only one thing inside, a cassette tape. No case, no writing, just blank. I was underwhelmed. I expected something shocking, but a tape? I didn't even have a way to play it. I threw it in a drawer, tried to forget about it. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing something, a soft, rhythmic scratching, like fingernails on fabric. When I followed the sound, I found the drawer slightly open, the tape inside, pulsing. It's hard to describe, but the plastic shell was vibrating softly, like it was alive. I ended up digging through some old boxes my dad left behind in the garage. That's where I found it, a dusty, half-broken Walkman from the 90s, batteries still inside. When I slid the tape in and pressed play, nothing happened. Just silence. I started to take off the headphones, then it began. It wasn't music. It wasn't even a voice. It was organic, wet, like someone breathing through water, mixed with soft whispers that didn't use words. A sound that felt alive. I couldn't move. I sat frozen for 6 minutes. The noise didn't get louder. It got closer, crawling into my ears, into my thoughts. When the tape clicked off, I gasped, like I'd been drowning. My nose was bleeding. I don't remember walking to my bed. I just woke up there the next morning with the Walkman beside me, headphones still wrapped around my neck. That's when it started. First, I forgot my neighbor's name, Mr. Kepler, the man I've lived next to for over a decade. Every Sunday, we exchange mail by accident. But that morning, when I looked out the window and saw him waving, I couldn't place his face. I knew I should know him, but it was like someone had erased that part of my brain, rewritten it. Then came the dreams. Not even dreams, memories that weren't mine. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, hearing that same sound from the tape, seeing dark hallways I'd never walked, mirrors that didn't reflect me, always ending with the same phrase echoing in my ears. You heard it. Now it hears you. I tried to get rid of the tape. I tossed the Walkman into a dumpster 10 blocks from my apartment. But the next morning, it was back on my nightstand. Clean, untouched. The tape was rewound, and now had a word etched into it with something sharp: repeat. The memory loss got worse. I forgot how to spell simple words. I'd open my fridge and forget what food was. I called my sister, only to forget halfway through the conversation that I even had a sister. Then came the blackout. Full hours gone. I'd wake up standing in places I didn't remember walking to. Once, I found myself standing in front of my mirror, repeating a phrase I don't remember learning. I am the sound. I am the sound. I am the sound. I recorded myself sleeping. That's when I saw it. Every night, around 2:37 a.m., I'd sit up, open the drawer, take out the Walkman, and listen. My face was wrong, slack, drooling. My eyes rolled back, and I'd smile, a smile that didn't belong to me. And then one night, I saw a second person, standing just behind me in the footage, blurred, tall, wearing what looked like an old radio headset. I never saw them leave. I just stopped recording after that. Doctors couldn't explain the memory gaps. Friends stopped calling. I couldn't hold on to their names anyway. It was like I was becoming hollow. I'd write things down to remember them, but the ink would fade. Every notebook, every sticky note, all turned blank the next day. I've moved 3 times now. Every time I throw the tape away, burn it, crush it, and every time it returns. Sometimes it's in my pocket. Sometimes it's under my pillow. Once, I found it inside my mouth. No memory of how it got there. Now, I hear the sound without the tape. It's inside things. My sink, my microwave, my own voice. A wet, static hum beneath every silence. A presence riding every moment of quiet. I tried to warn people online. I made a Reddit post. It got deleted in under 2 minutes. I emailed a paranormal investigator. He replied, then vanished. His blog wiped clean, his videos gone. It's like the sound cleans up after itself. This story isn't a warning. It's a record, because I'm forgetting too much now. I don't remember my real name anymore. I only remember the sound. And the feeling that it's learning, that it's using me to spread. If you've found a blank cassette in your mail, or if you've heard static in places it shouldn't be, leave. Don't play it. Don't try to record it. Don't even speak about it, because once you hear it, it hears you back, and it never forgets. Let's move to our second story. The gloves were not empty. Narration style. First person. Found journal, horror subgenre, cursed object, body horror. I wasn't supposed to open the box. When I ordered it from that dark web forum, it came with a warning scrawled in smudged ink on the inside of the lid. Do not wear them. Do not feed them. Do not let them touch your skin. I thought it was some kind of joke, like an edgy gimmick. But now, I haven't slept in days, and my fingers don't feel like mine anymore. Let me back up. I've always collected strange things. Vintage masks, voodoo charms, shrunken heads, stuff people would never keep in their house. My apartment looked more like a traveling sideshow than a place to live. So when I read about dark web mystery boxes being cursed or haunted, I figured, why not? I've handled worse. It took almost a month for mine to arrive. The box was heavier than expected. The cardboard smelled like ash and copper. When I opened it, it was filled with torn newspaper, and nestled deep inside was a single item, a pair of old black leather gloves, worn, cracked, still strangely warm. I remember thinking they looked like driving gloves, but something about the stitching seemed off. The leather felt wrong, almost spongy, like it had a pulse. And here's where I messed up. I touched them barehanded. I felt a strange static pass through my fingertips the second I lifted them. And for a moment, I swear I saw the fingers of the gloves twitch, like something inside was reacting. I dropped them immediately. I even laughed nervously, thinking I'd imagined it. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the texture, the warmth, the weight. Around 2 a.m., I went back to my living room and picked them up again. I told myself it was just curiosity, but deep down something was pulling me. Not mentally, physically. My hands trembled as I slid them in, and that's when everything changed. The moment the gloves were on, it felt like I wasn't wearing them, like they were wearing me. They tightened around my skin, the leather bonding to me like a second layer. I tried to pull them off, but they wouldn't budge. I felt a sickening pop in my knuckles, not from pain, but from realignment. Suddenly, I could feel things I shouldn't. I could sense the vibration of bugs crawling under the floorboards. I could smell copper wiring through the walls. I could feel the heartbeat of the man in the apartment next door. My vision became sharper, almost too sharp. Everything looked soaked in red tones. Then the hunger started, not for food, for touch. My fingers wouldn't stop twitching. I scratched at everything, the couch, the doorframe, my own face. I couldn't stop. It was like the gloves were itching from the inside, needing contact. I blacked out. When I woke up, it was morning. My front door was wide open. My hands, still gloved, were covered in something dark and sticky, not blood. Something thicker, viscous. I don't remember going outside. I don't remember anything. But my neighbor's cat has been missing since that night. I tried cutting the gloves off. I grabbed scissors, a knife, hell, even lit a burner and tried to burn them. Nothing worked. They were part of me now. And the gloves started changing. Each night they'd grow. The stitching expanded, the fingers elongated. They'd move slightly when I wasn't looking. I started waking up with new scratches on my body, like my hands were exploring without permission. Then came the dreams. Dark corridors filled with screaming hands. walls that pulsed like skin, a voice whispering over and over, "They need hands, they need hands." I'd wake up with my arms stretched out in front of me like I was offering something. I stopped going to work. My phone rang constantly, but I couldn't answer it, not because I was scared, but because the gloves wouldn't let me. They curled my fingers around the receiver. They rejected anything that wasn't them. I started writing this all down in a journal. Not on my computer. My keyboard shorted out 2 days ago, right after I typed the word remove. It sparked and died. Now I write with a pen clamped awkwardly in my gloved hand. My handwriting looks nothing like mine anymore. More like calligraphy, elegant, almost ceremonial. The cravings got worse. It wasn't just about touch. The gloves wanted something more. They began to act on their own. One night, I woke up in the alley behind my apartment, kneeling in front of a man I'd never seen. My hands, the gloves, were wrapped around his neck. I could feel the joy radiating from the leather as he stopped breathing. I ran. I cried, but deep down, part of me enjoyed it. It's like they were feeding something in me I didn't know existed, a hunger I pretended wasn't there. That's when I knew these gloves weren't cursed. They were rituals made flesh, and I was becoming their vessel. They've started whispering now, not aloud, in my bones. I can hear their memories. The people who wore them before. A pianist who lost her fingers in a fire. A boxer who killed a man in the ring. A tailor who stitched human skin into fabric. All of them lived through the gloves. All of them vanished, just like I'm about to. Tonight is different. The gloves are still growing. My arms are now completely black from the wrist down, the skin rough, dry, and numb. I think the leather is spreading, and I don't think it plans to stop. If you find a pair of black leather gloves in a mystery box, do not touch them. Don't try them on. Don't even breathe near them, because once they feel your skin, you won't feel anything ever again. Only them. Let's move to our third story. Let's single quotes S move to our third story. The Whisper Box. This story comes from a guy named Brendan, 32, living alone in a rented apartment just outside Portland. He's one of those deep dive YouTubers with a small but loyal audience. His channel mostly focused on reviewing obscure gadgets, forgotten tech relics, and occasionally weird items from online marketplaces. He wasn't flashy, no over-the-top reactions, just quiet curiosity. But things changed when he decided to go darker, digging into the black bag side of the internet. Mystery boxes, allegedly cursed objects, digital relics that were banned or forgotten. He'd seen other creators blow up with those kinds of videos, so when he found an anonymous Telegram channel selling a one-of-a-kind item only for the brave, he bit. The listing had no photo, no description, just a text message that read, "Once you open it, it never stops listening." The seller only accepted Monero. Brendan sent payment, expecting it to be a scam or, at worst, something like rotten meat or a cheap jump scare toy. But 4 days later, a box arrived. It was unlike any he'd received before. Rough wooden exterior, no shipping label, no branding, just his first name, handwritten in red ink on the underside of the lid. It smelled faintly of cedar and something burnt. The seams were sealed with wax, dark and uneven, like it had been crudely melted shut. Etched across the top in precise serif lettering, "Silence." Brendan filmed an unboxing. He didn't upload it right away. He wanted to edit in his thoughts. Maybe some background on the seller. But something about the box made him pause. It felt wrong to share it too casually. Inside, he found a soft black velvet pouch. It was heavier than it looked. Inside the pouch was an object he would later describe as perfectly unnatural. A pale, cube-shaped artifact, ivory-colored but slightly translucent, as if light passed through the edges. The surface was smooth but cold. Each side bore cryptic, unfamiliar symbols, not letters, not numbers. One side had a perfect circle carved into it, a hollow hole, deep and pitch black. When Brendan first held it to his ear, he froze. There was a faint whispering, not random noise, not feedback, deliberate, rhythmic, almost like prayer, but not in any language he recognized. He assumed it was a trick. A hidden speaker? A device embedded in the object? He opened it under UV light, X-rayed it at a local makerspace. There was nothing inside. The cube was solid, impossibly so. When he spoke into the hole, the whispers shifted. They became responsive. They answered him, in his own voice but distorted, like someone trying to mimic him. At first it was just echoes, then it began saying things he hadn't said. Private things. Things no one else should have known. Over the next few nights, Brendan changed. He stopped answering texts. His lights would flicker at exactly 3:17 a.m. every night, no matter what he did to fix it. The cube moved, subtly at first. He'd place it on a shelf, and it would appear on his desk, always facing him, always with the hole exposed. Then came the dreams. He described them in a voice memo found later on his phone. There's someone sitting at the foot of my bed. I can't move. The cube is in their hand. They're whispering names. Names I don't know. But when I look them up, they're real. All missing people. All gone without a trace. He tried to get rid of it. He wrapped it in lead, buried it in a metal toolbox, dropped it in a lake an hour outside the city. That night, his smoke alarms all went off at once. No fire, no smoke, just sound. And there it was, the cube, sitting on his kitchen table, dripping wet. One night, he attempted to smash it. He live-streamed it privately to a backup channel. Sledgehammer, fire, even a drill. Nothing worked. But as he tried, lights flickered, his screen distorted, and the whispers turned into voices, clear, loud, and angry. He ran off camera. The video ended mid-scream. The next day, Brendan uploaded one final video, just black screen. One word in the title, "I'm sorry." The audio was nothing but static, until the final 4 seconds, when a whisper emerged, "Open." Brendan vanished 2 days later. His apartment was found locked from the inside. His computer had been factory reset. His video camera was smashed. His phone wiped, but the cube remained. Police found it on his pillow. It was still warm to the touch, still whispering, still listening. Let's move to our fourth story. They called it the breath game. It was just an old internet rumor, something people dared each other to try during those grim early days of the dark web. Supposedly, if you played it correctly, the game would let you hear your own death in advance. Most people dismissed it as creepypasta, but one user, whose handle was abysswatch24, claimed to have survived it. Barely. The game involved ordering a particular ritual kit from a hidden page on the dark web, one that only appeared between 3:33 and 3:36 a.m. The kit was nondescript: a black candle, a cracked cassette tape labeled "Only Here," a mirror, and a sealed envelope with no return address. Brendan, yes, the same Brendan from our earlier story, had stumbled onto this while obsessively browsing occult forums after the Cube incident. He was broken, paranoid, desperate for answers. So when the kit arrived, he didn't hesitate. Set up the ritual exactly as the instructions described. One mirror facing north, candle in front, cassette playing low static. The envelope was to remain sealed until the voice told you to open it. At first, it felt like a joke. The tape hissed and popped, but there was nothing unusual. Then, it breathed. Brendan swore it wasn't static anymore. It was breathing, shallow, weak. Then another sound emerged, not a voice, but his own voice, rasping out from the tape in real time, describing everything he was doing as he did it. He leans forward, the voice muttered. He's sweating. He's afraid to look into the mirror. And then something horrifying happened. The voice on the tape started narrating actions he hadn't done yet. He opens the envelope, it whispered. But Brendan hadn't moved. He stood frozen, heart pounding. He sees it now, it continued. He knows what's coming. Brendan's hands, shaking against his will, began tearing open the envelope. Inside was a photo, old and faded. It showed him lying dead in his bathtub, eyes open, blood trailing from his nose. And behind him, in the reflection of the bathroom mirror, was a figure, tall, pale, watching. The tape kept playing. The voice said, "He turns now, and he sees it too." Brendan spun around. No one there. He smashed the mirror in terror, threw the cassette into the fire, and tried to burn the photo, but it wouldn't burn. It wouldn't tear. It wouldn't fade. The next morning, he tried to shrug it off as a hallucination. Trauma from the box. Lack of sleep. But when he stepped into the shower later that week, he saw a smear of blood on the white tile, then another. And then, the fog on the mirror didn't show his own reflection. It showed the photo. The exact same pose. The next time anyone heard from Brendan, he had posted one final message to a forgotten forum at 3:35 a.m. The breath is still there. The tape is gone, but I still hear it. The death it showed me, it's the only one I'm allowed to have. I tried to run. But you can't outrun something that's already waiting at the end. Don't order the kit. Don't play the game. The breath is patient. No one's been able to trace the kit. The forum post was deleted within seconds. His apartment? Empty. No signs of struggle. No signs of departure. But on the bathroom mirror, someone had written in the condensation, "Heard you." Let's move to our fifth story. Story title: The password was devour. I was never one of those people who bought weird stuff online, especially not from the dark web. I used to just browse out of curiosity, see how deep the rabbit hole went. But one night, I found something different. A thread posted with no username, no replies. Just the title, Taste Something Eternal. Inside was one sentence. If you know the password, you'll understand what hunger truly is. There was no link, just an input field. I don't know why I bothered. I tried a few obvious guesses. Hunger, flesh, blood. Nothing. Then I typed devour. The screen flickered. Then everything went black. Seconds later, a page loaded. Completely black background, red text that read, "You've been chosen. Prepare your kitchen. Midnight." I thought it was a prank or some kind of immersive ARG until 2 days later, a package arrived at my door. No postage, no branding, just a small black cardboard box, cold to the touch. It smelled faintly of copper and vinegar, even before I opened it. There were no instructions inside, just a thick glass jar and a folded note written in what looked like bone-white ink. Boil the jar. Do not use metal utensils. Eat alone. Lock your door. Do not stop until it is gone. Inside the jar, submerged in murky yellow-gray fluid, was a piece of what looked like raw meat. The longer I stared, the more it resembled a human tongue. Pale, swollen, veins still visible. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I couldn't throw it away. I should have. Every normal part of my brain screamed at me too, but there was this ... pull, like it wanted to be eaten. I put it in a cabinet and tried to forget about it, but the smell got worse. Every morning, I woke up with the metallic taste of blood in my mouth. On the third night, I heard something from the kitchen. It wasn't footsteps exactly, more like a wet dragging sound. I went in, and the jar was sitting on the stove. I swear on my life I never touched it. There was a new note taped to it, midnight, or it will eat instead. I lost control that night. I filled a pot with water and dropped the jar in. As it heated, the house went cold, unnaturally cold. The lights flickered, and I swear I heard something whispering behind the walls. Something repeating that same word, devour. When the jar cracked open, I should have run. But I didn't. The smell was overwhelming. Copper, rot, something sweet underneath. I picked up the thing inside, bare hands. It was warm. The texture was ... wrong. It pulsed slightly in my grip, and I ate it. I don't remember chewing. I remember biting once, then blacking out. When I came to, the plate was clean. My mouth was raw, and my gums were bleeding. But the hunger, oh God, the hunger, it didn't go away. It got worse. The next day, I found a second jar on my doorstep, larger. Inside was something that looked like ribs. Human ribs. Another note. You are part of the chain now. You are being prepared. I didn't open it. I locked it in a box and tried to burn it. It wouldn't catch. I threw it in the river, and the next morning it was back in my sink. Same jar, same label, same smell. I haven't slept in days. Every time I do, I dream of a feast. Not one I'm attending, one I'm part of. A table of pale figures with no eyes, chewing slowly, their hands reaching toward me. Every bite I took ... I was eating myself. I know that now. My skin started to peel. My nails fell off. I don't recognize my reflection anymore. My eyes have gone cloudy, and there are teeth growing where they shouldn't be. Sometimes I feel something moving under my ribs, like a second heart, pumping slower, deeper. Tonight. Another box arrived. No jar this time, just a note. Prepare the next offering, or the hunger will find someone else to wear. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I'm alive. But the hunger doesn't care, and neither will you. Once you've said the word, devour.